Good evening. Former Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i's brush with the law for the second time has led to police raiding his home, even as Azimio leader Raila Odinga castigates the state, saying that amounts to persecution. We have our reporter William Mwege live on standby at the residence of the former CS Interior, that is Dr. Fred Matiang'i. Will be engaging William Mwege later on in this broadcast. But first, let's have a look at the highlights. Tonight, police raid the current home of former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i just hours after a Nairobi court declined to grant the DCI orders for access to CCTV footage of what transpired on the night of February 8th at the current residence. KDF officers begin landing in Baringo.
Kafyu iwe kitu ambayo inatofautisha. Huyu ni mtu mkora ama sababu kuna sana watu wanatumia kafyu kwa njia nyingine ya kujifaidisha.
As administrators say they are yet to receive any surrendered guns.
Ukirudisha bunduki umepewa, hakuna mtu atakuchaji kwamba ulikuwa na bunduki haramu, lakini tutaindicate in our records kwamba umerudisha bunduki.
Also tonight, over 200,000 learners yet to join grade 7 2 weeks after the start of the inaugural junior secondary class.
Any parent transferring his or her child to another school, probably from level 7 to 8, that will not be acceptable.
Over 180,000 others are yet to join Form 1. Well, good evening and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Catherine C. Malloy. Now, detectives have this Wednesday evening stormed into the home of former Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i in Karen. A multi-agency contingent in 6 vehicles arrived at the Karen home early evening after searching the home. The visit comes shortly after the Directorate of Criminal Investigation said that they have made significant progress in the ongoing investigation surrounding the alleged raid on the night of Wednesday, February 8, 2023. In a press release by DCI boss Mohamed Amin, they were armed with a search order. Well, and now I understand that we are joined live by our reporter Mwege William. Good evening, Mwege. What is the latest from where you are?
Good evening to you, Eric Monene, back in studio. We're coming live from Karen, the residence of the former Interior Cabinet Secretary for Interior, that is Fred Matiang'i. Behind me is the door, which earlier on was broken into by a contingent of police officers drawn from different units, being led by the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, DCI. We also saw police officers, the regular police officers here, and the administration police officers who had set camp here with more than 5 police vehicles were here at Dr. Fred Matiang'i's home. This follows after a statement released by Mohamed Amin, who is the director of the Criminal Investigation DCI, releasing a statement stating that they will be making their way here to at least get CCTV footage from these residents. This is due to their ongoing investigation, as they want to substantiate an earlier allegation made by lawyers representing Dr. Fred Matiang'i that there was a raid here conducted by state officials, but which different state agencies led by DCI, the National Police Service, said or distanced themselves from that particular incident, which happened earlier last week, stating that they had not sanctioned any raid at this particular home. And earlier on, we saw back and forth at the corridors of justice, that is through the courts, whereby the DCI wanted a search warrant to come to the home of Dr. Fred Matiang'i and at least get or rather obtain CCTV footage to ascertain which police officers, as alleged by lawyers representing Fred Matiang'i, that were here. But in that statement earlier released by the DCI director Mohamed Amin, they say that they have gotten a search warrant, and that is why late in the afternoon today at around 5 p.m. a contingent of officers were here, and they got a access to these particular premises, which according to Danstan Omari representing Dr. Fred Matiang'i, they did not have, or rather police officers did not have a search warrant to be at this particular place. And we were informed that police rather watchmen who were manning this place were earlier apprehended but later on released before the police officers gained access to this particular place. And after that incident, later on at around 7:30, 8 p.m. this evening, we saw Azimio leader Raila Odinga making his way here at Dr. Fred Matiang'i's home. Just a similar event as it happened earlier last week in the previous alleged raid. We saw also Azimio leader making his way here, and also today he did the same. At around 7 he was here, and he also briefed the members of the press who had set camp outside here, and he said this is total witch hunt. Whatever is happening, whatever the police led by the DCI that they had done earlier here at Fred Matiang'i's home is total witch hunt, which he does not understand as to why they are after Dr. Fred Matiang'i. And we managed to get a hold of Fred of Azimio leader Raila Odinga, and this is his sentiments earlier speaking to the media here at Fred Matiang'i's home in Karen.
To harass people over this. This is a non-issue. The matter should just rest there. They already had issued a statement denying that they came here. The matter ended. Kenyans had already moved on. What is it? What is the big deal about it? What are they trying to prove to the country? Nothing. Completely. They're creating unnecessary tension in the country. It's not deserved. We have more bigger issues to deal with. Okay? Now, another issue. Now they have sent the military to the north where there is insecurity. The constitution is very clear. The military is only there for external defense under very special circumstances. But the military is supposed to be deployed internally. There must be an approval by Parliament. Parliament must approve deployment of the security internally. And when the security is operating internally, they cannot be operating under another security arm. The military, that is. They should all the time be independent. But those are very special circumstances, and Parliament must approve. President has no powers to single-handedly deploy the military for internal operations. Even for external operations, there must be parliamentary approval. When we sent our troops to Somalia, I, as a Prime Minister, had to go to Parliament with a motion to get parliamentary approval to deploy our troops in Somalia. So what has happened here is again a gross violation.
Well, Eric, those are earlier pictures, sentiments by Azimio leader Raila Odinga, who was present here at Dr. Fred Matiang'i's home. And according to lawyers of Fred Matiang'i, already the police who were in full uniform made their way here, and they managed to get or confiscate CCTV footage. This will aid in the investigation as submitted or stated in the letter released earlier by Mohammed Amin, the director of DCI. But for now, everyone has left, including the lawyers and also Azimio leader Raila Odinga. But of importance and quick to note is that Dr. Fred Matiang'i, as the operation was underway, being conducted by DCI, regular police, and also administration police, he was not at his official residence. Something that Raila Odinga has noted that according to so far they have not spoken, but Danstan Omari, the lawyer, said that Fred Matiang'i is safe and he has not been arrested so far, but if need be, he will appear before any police station for any matter. That is all from here, but we are expecting new developments as from tomorrow on what next from both sides, that being the DCI and also the side of Danstan Omari, who is representing Dr. Fred Matiang'i, the former Minister of Interior. Back to you, Eric.
Well, just before I let you go, Moige, earlier on today we heard that a court had declined to grant orders to have the DCI officers obtain the CCTV footage ostensibly that would show them what happened in a previous alleged raid. From where you stand, are there any indications that the raid this time round was successful? Did they get what it is that they wanted? Moige, if you can hear me, from where you stand, are there any indications that the raid this time was successful? Did the DCI officers who allegedly broke into the former CS Interior, that is Fred Matiang'i, was the raid successful? Did they get what it is that they wanted?
Yes, Eric, answering your question is, according to the lawyer Danstan Omari, who is representing Dr. Fred Matiang'i, the operation made by the police officers who made their way into the home, or the current home for former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, yes, they managed to confiscate CCTV footage. And remember, as I had earlier informed you, in the statement released by the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, true, yes, they had got such warrant to come to the home of Dr. Fred Matiang'i and obtain CCTV footage. This CCTV footage is to aid them to be able to substantiate the allegations that there were police officers earlier last week who made their way here at Dr. Fred Matiang'i's home, but something that it is contrary to DCI. They had not sanctioned any operation to be carried out here at the home of Dr. Fred Matiang'i, and this is going to aid in the investigation. Remember, according to the DCI, this is something they had not sanctioned, and which is lawful to make such allegations against state agencies, and this CCTV footage will aid them. And according to Danstan Omari, yes, they have obtained that CCTV footage and other documents which they had managed to acquire after ransacking the home of Dr. Fred Matiang'i. Eric.
Well, thank you very much for that update, William Moige. We might come back to you if need be. That is our reporter, William Moige, at the residence of former Interior CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, after his house was raided by police. But just briefly, a timeline. On the night of Wednesday, 8th this month, persons that were claimed to be police officers raided that home, but there was no proof to actually say with a sense of finality that actually those are police officers. And then today, the police, and especially the DCI unit, confirmed that indeed, yes, they had gotten court orders to obtain the CCTV footage that would lead to the investigations going on. At least they closed that case on what happened on that night of the 8th of February this year. That is our reporter, William Moige, who definitely will go, is going to tell us what really has taken place after, of course, everything has settled. But to a story that is related to that, a Nairobi court has declined to grant the Director of Criminal Investigations instant orders for access to CCTV footage of former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i's current home in Nairobi during an alleged police raid. Have a look.
In an application filed early Wednesday at the Milimani Law Court's Directorate of Criminal Investigations asked the court to compel a private security firm to grant the agency access to CCTV footage of residential plot number LR number 12302/9 in Karen between 6 a.m. on February 8th to noon of 9th February. Among the documents submitted to the court was an affidavit signed by Eunice Njue, an officer in the DCI, citing need to use the footage in investigating a case of attempted robbery. However, Magistrate Wandia Nyamo declined to grant the orders as requested, asking the DCI to first serve the respondent Bob Morgan Security Services Limited before returning to court on 7th March for further direction.
So I don't want to give substantive orders on assumptions. Let them serve the persons they have mentioned. And then during the next mention, then you can take directions from there.
Speaking after the decision by the court, Matiang'i's legal team criticized the investigations agency for allegedly having an ulterior motive and infringing on their client's privacy.
This is a fishing expedition, a proper fishing expedition by the DCI to either curtail any element of the assertions that we made, which were true. There were police officers at the CS residency, and this is a veiled attempt in terms of exonerating themselves of the mess that they got themselves into.
Lawyer Danstan Omari further alleged that the DCI had filed the same application to different courts seeking the same orders.
That this matter is now here. Remember, there is also the High Court matter. So for the public to know and for the DCI to be put on notice that you cannot be jumping from court to court to court, hoping that one court is going to give you an illegal order.
Last week, reports that police had raided the residence of former Interior CS in Karen met with strong denial by the police, prompting the DCI to seek orders to access CCTV footages from AMSEC Security Services Limited successfully. This evening, the police are said to have raided Matiang'i's current home and confiscated CCTV footage equipment, which are at the moment at the DCI headquarters for scrutiny, even as the DCI maintained that it obtained orders to get the recordings from Matiang'i's home. Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
Now, the government's decision to launch a joint operation between the military and police in a bid to flush out the bandits in areas declared disturbed and dangerous has left Baringo residents in great panic, with many fleeing from their homes as military presence starts to be felt in the region. Collins Lusweti with that story.
2 days after President William Ruto ordered the operations in the disturbed regions due to frequent banditry attacks, residents of Tiaty sub-county are now a worried lot, saying the operation may injure innocent civilians if it is not conducted in areas where bandits are hiding.
Wakora awako hapa. Wakora awako barabara. Wakora wako msituni.
They have further raised concerns over the dusk to dawn curfew ordered by the government in the area, saying it will only harm innocent locals.
Sababu sisi ndio tumekuwa culprit ya kila wakati curfew. Secondly, tungeomba serikali kwamba curfew iwe kitu ambayo inatofautisha. Huyu ni mtu mkora ama, sababu kuna saa hii kuna sana watu wanatumia curfew kwa njia nyingine ya kujifaidisha.
Chemolingot Center is already turning into a ghosted area, with residents fleeing their homes for fear of being injured in the operations. Many business people in the center have been forced to close down their businesses.
Watu wameenda, hasa sisi wenye wanabiashara tunarudisha vitu zetu kwa nyumbani, na hii biashara yetu ndio yenye hata watoto wetu tunategemea kulishia watoto.
With a 3-day ultimatum issued by Cabinet Secretary for Interior Kithure Kindiki on holders of illegal firearms to surrender them expiring today, Deputy County Commissioner in the area Jackson Orienyi says no firearm has been surrendered.
Ukirudisha bunduki umepewa, hakuna mtu atakuchaji kwamba ulikuwa na bunduki haramu, lakini tutaindicate na wa records kwamba umerudisha bunduki. Kwa hiyo mpaka sasa sijapata hata bunduki moja.
Already a large contingent of military soldiers has been seen in Baringo County, with reports indicating the soldiers are heading to Arabal area. In his tour of Turkana County yesterday, Inspector General of Police Japheth Koome indicated that the government will give the bandits no breathing space.
This is criminality we cannot allow to continue in our country.
Collins Lusweti, TV 47.
Now, over 200,000 learners who sat for the grade 6 exam are yet to join grade 7 2 weeks after learning began for the inaugural junior secondary class. Now, this is over 180,000 candidates who sat for the KCPE 2022 are yet to join Form 1. This comes as parents colluding with school administrators to aid their children skip the competency-based curriculum by trying to register them for the 2023 KCPE examinations, and they've been told that they will be traced through NEMIS. Sharon Baranga with more.
Local administrators in all counties have been urged to help trace over 200,000 learners who are yet to join junior secondary school. To date, about 900,000 grade 7 learners have been enrolled in schools. The status quo is at a time when some parents have been found to be colluding with heads of schools in trying to beat the system by registering grade 7 learners for this year's KCPE examinations. But what they are oblivious of is the NEMIS system, which can trace them.
We want to trust the process na tupatie nafasi Ministry of Education waangalie hiyo mambo yote ya CBC. The president has formed a task force. Wazazi nataka niwaulize patients ndio watoto wetu wapate quality education. Tutitake kuna ile unique personal identifier numbers ambaye NEMIS Ministry of Education wanapeana.
The Ministry of Education has since launched a probe into the new misconduct, which involves falsifying the NEMIS number, which is mostly done with support of teachers. The matter said to be rampant in the northern counties of Garissa, Wajir and Mandera.
The people who were in Standard 7 last year who have gone to Standard 8, they are properly captured under NEMIS. Say that any parent transferring his or her child to another school, probably from level 7 to 8, that will not be acceptable. And within the NEMIS system, it will not be accepted, it will not be captured. So it's something that we are telling people, let children go the normal process. So far, we don't have empirical evidence to say that this number or that number has been able to skip across.
And in Kiharu, Murang'a County, Masomo Bora program has launched in aid of day secondary school learners. The program, funded by National Government Constituencies Development Fund, targets 14,000 day secondary school learners. The students who used to part with 5,000 shillings per term will now pay 1,000 shillings per term.
We have launched Kiharu Masomo Bora program covering all the 60-day schools in Kiharu, even the boarding schools with day element. We are covering the day scholars in this program. And we have been able to allocate 60 million Kenya shillings from CDF that specifically is going into revamping infrastructure in our day schools, building laboratories and changing the face of our infrastructure. We have also allocated 10 million that is going towards revision books.
Form 1 students had until 13th February to report to school, but the ministry has extended the reporting time to enable those still at home enroll in their respective schools. Sharon Baranga, TV47.
Well, moving on, a section of elders from the Turkana community now wants leaders from the disturbed region arrested or barred from accessing the area as the security operation to flush out bandits takes shape. Now, the elders, led by Justus Ekeno, accused some politicians of having a hand in the ongoing banditry and now say that they should be made to break any contacts with their constituents during the operation, saying that they are to blame for the war. Chichi Josephine tells us more.
The ongoing banditry in Turkana counties continues to elicit reactions among the Turkana communities and elders living outside the region, who are now in support of the operation that has roped in the Kenya Defence Forces and the Elite Police Border Patrol Unit.
Sisi kama jamii ya Waturkana ambayo tuko nje ya Turkana County, tuna support hiyo operation ambayo rais ameamua ifanyike katika hizo area. Lakini tunataka ikuwe namna hii. Tunataka hiyo operation ianze Pokot. Pokot ni mahali ambapo imekuwa ni mahali pa kufahamia jamii zingine.
Speaking to the press in Nakuru, the elders led by Justus Ekeno now want political leaders from the area to be denied a chance to interact with the ordinary people, as well as the government to ensure the Kenya-Uganda border along the West Pokot County is closed to ensure the bandits do not flee from the country with their weapons.
Akamate kwanza ile viongozi ya West Pokot wote mpaka governor aweke ndani kwanza. Na cha pili, aweke curfew. West Pokot aweke curfew, 24 hours curfew. Ile kabisa hakuna kutoka. Na cha tatu, afunge ile boda ya Uganda na West Pokot. Kwa sababu hiyo boda ndio inatoa bunduki wakati saa ya operation wanaenda mpaka wapi? Wanaenda Uganda, wanajificha huku, dakika ya mwisho wanarudi na bunduki.
hata wale watoto wamefaidika, wamepata mashule nje ya Turkana County. Wawezi kuwaleta watoto wao upande huu. Kwa sababu gani? Magari inashambuliwa usiku na mchana.
Politicians have in the past been accused of using the uneducated local youth to pursue their personal interest, with some directly arming them to protect their flocks and raid others.
Ikiwa kila wakati askari anauawa ni mtoto wangu, daktari anauawa ni mtoto wangu, mwalimu anauawa ni mtoto wangu mimi mama, ule mtu wa kawaida, mtu mbusi ambaye imemaliza hata najua, bado wanakuja kuchukua hiyo moja imebaki. Tuelezewe sisi tuko wapi?
The recurring wars have been said to deny the area of development, citing high value resources from the region which would transform their lives.
Ni lini mama Mturkana atafurahia kuitwa mama ya daktari kila wakati kama anauawa mtoto mdogo kama hajafikia destiny yake? Ni siku gani atafurahia hata ile mtoto yake ameenda kuandikwa pale anaenda kuuawa? Hiyo jambo tumekasirika kabisa.
Shida kubwa, asubuhi unaamka wewe ukiwa mfugaji, unakuta mtu amekuamkia asubuhi na mapema, amesakanya kila kitu, umebaki ukiwa sikota pale.
The porous borders are said to serve as the main entry points for illegal firearms and an exit road for the criminals, areas that security agencies have been urged to conduct operation with professionalism to ensure innocent women and children are not exposed to unnecessary suffering. Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Well, moving on, a heated debate arose in Parliament over President William Ruto's memoranda on constitutional amendments, a proposal to create an office of official opposition, with Azimio members watering down the proposal in what they said that the president cannot initiate constitutional amendments as it was ruled by the Supreme Court. However, the Kenya Kwanza Brigade backed up the proposal, saying that the government of the day needs checks and balances with an official office of opposition in Parliament. Have a look.
Your Excellency, the President.
Parliament has commenced the process of debating a raft of proposals by the Kenya Kwanza government through a memoranda presented by President William Ruto late last year. However, a heated debate was witnessed in today's sitting over the proposal of amendment of constitution to create official leader of opposition, with Kenya Kwanza Brigade led by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah supporting the move in what they insist on the need to have official opposition leader seated in Parliament.
But we want to institutionalize the office of the leader of opposition to an extent that we have a system that can hold government to account. Honorable Speaker, I have seen our colleagues in the minority at times struggle, because at times the leadership that they look up to is neither in this house, neither can they find them anywhere within the precincts of Parliament or around to offer guidance to them on how to effectively oversight and take government to account.
The importance of the office cannot be overemphasized. The reason being that the person who comes number 2 after a general election is a very important person. And this is for posterity. It doesn't have to have the last elections in mind. That person has a lot to contribute when it comes to checks and balances of the government. It's also important to know where to find this person. For example, now, 2 of these issues have been referred to my committee, Justice and Legal Affairs. We would want to hear from the leader of opposition exactly what his views are. But as we speak today, we do not know where to find him.
However, the Azimio members of Parliament were opposed to the creation of the office of official opposition leader and his deputy in what they say cannot be created by tinkering some chapters in the Constitution, which include Article 108 of the Constitution and Article 96 and 97 on the numbers in both houses of Parliament, increasing by 1, but only that can be done through a referendum which reflects sovereign power of the people.
And when we come here as minority, we don't come here as opposition, we come as minority. The word opposition does not appear anywhere in the text of the Constitution. So how can you introduce a leader of an non-existent entity? Honorable Wanyonyi, I'm telling you now, I'm helping you understand the law. So just listen.
That idea is precipitated on a misinformation and misunderstanding that those who are in the majority are here on behalf of the executive, and those in the minority are here on behalf of the opposition. That is not so. In fact, the whole idea of this presidential system is that we, as a parliament, check on the executive as a collectivity.
We should not allow any indication of an individual rolling back those gains. And there is a possibility that one can test waters. Don't allow the president to start testing waters by writing to parliament for constitutional amendment tomorrow. And with the gerrymandering that I have already started seeing, and the games being played around with the members of the opposition now being invited at will, and Jubilee almost gone to the other side, with MDG gone, with UDM gone, and many, many individual MPs, including now my party, is under threat of being raided. I foresee a possibility of a president, once emboldened, can recommend far-reaching amendments to the Constitution, which may even take us to a life presidency. That is my fear. Number two.
MPs say the recommendations by the president are which include ratification of NGCDF and establishment of the Senate Fund in just a plan by executive to take over the legislative arm of government.
Argument will be, but if it is a parliamentary initiative, the president is not a member of parliament. So how will you say it's a parliamentary initiative and it is initiated by someone outside parliament? And in both cases, whether it's popular or parliamentary, it passes through parliament. The second mistake was the president writing to the speaker. The speaker is a neutral entity in this house. The person to initiate would be the leader of majority, the leader of minority, or an individual member. But expressly, the leader of majority now introduces the motion, but the motion is reading that it was written to the speaker. So there are already two technicalities that makes this initiative run afoul of the law.
In a memo dated 9th, 2022, the president had urged Parliament to consider the amendments, including a proposal on the law on two-third gender principle to pave the way for implementation of the two-third gender rule. The other proposals are in regard to amending Chapter 9 of the Constitution to create an office of the official leader of opposition in Parliament. The president had noted that this move would institutionalize governance, strengthen oversight, and deepen democracy. As Parliament kicks off the process to amend the Constitution to allow creation of Office of Opposition Leader, now the tables have turned, with those who were seemingly opposed to the idea now embracing it loudly. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV 47 Pound Biddings, Nairobi.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Trisent School of Medical Health Science and Technology is a premier training institute for market-driven courses. With state-of-the-art facilities, competent and dedicated members of staff, and linkages with the medical industry, you are assured of a bright future when you study with us. Enroll today in our campuses at Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay.
Usienda nayo huko ndani, unaacha hapo kwa luggage ndio uingie.
Niwache kwa luggage namna gani nataka kutumia huko ndani? Nimekuja na hii gani ndio inatumika? Hii paketi ama hii kuchota? Kwani serious hii? Bwana wacheni mchezo bwana. Nini nyinyi?
Karibu customer. Hizi bidhaa unaziacha pale kwenye luggage ndipo sasa ufanye shopping kwa supermarket yetu. Kuchota ni kufanya shopping pekee.
Ni kufanya shopping.
Sema na Hitia Supermarket ndio best. Kwa mara nyingine inakuletea chota kuchota na Hitia Supermarket. Ushiriki shindano la chota kuchota. nawe Kitale, Bungoma, Eldoret, Kakamega, Kisumu, Busia, Naivasha, Limuru, Nairobi, Thika, Nyeri, Meru, Chuka na Maua. Nunua bidhaa ya shilingi 600 na zaidi na utapewa raffle ticket. Jaza vizuri na utumbukize kwa sanduku iliyo mlangoni. Utakuwa umeingia kwa draw ya kujishindia zawadi Daihatsu Sumira, pikipiki 21 aina ya TVS, 1130 school fees, TVS, shopping vouchers na vingine vingi.
Basi, ni huku. Saidia bibi.
Chota kuchota imethaminiwa na Kiwi Bacon, Savannah Juice Fruit Vial, My Choice Hand Wash, Zesta Choco Primo, Ketepa, Blue Band, Aramco, Oven Fresh Bread, Nivea, Silent Night Mattresses, Coca-Cola pamoja na Hisense. Shindano hili limeidhinishwa na BCLB permit number 002816. Sheria na masharti kutumika.
Chota kuchota na Hetia Supermarket, na hii motokaa gari smart kabisa inaweza kuwa yako. Unangoja nini? Ingia, fanya shopping yako Hetia Supermarket, uchoto kuchote na hii kari, hii motokaa inaweza kuwa yako. Mtu anaweza pesa kwa buti.
Hetia Supermarket, a world of choice.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now, even before the storming Jubilee party comes, Yala MP Kanini Kega has rubber-stamped that he is the interim Jubilee party Secretary General. Kega has summoned the ousted SG Jeremiah Kioni and Vice Chairperson David Murathe to face the disciplinary committee in a day of drama and reports that police raided the new Jubilee headquarters. Here's Flora Limuki with more.
The battle to control the Jubilee leadership is slowly but surely reaching fever pitch as the rival factions battle for the control of the former ruling party, which is now anything but jubilant.
Mheshimiwa Kanini Kega is the acting SG, Mheshimiwa Aden Kainan is the acting vice chairman, and Mheshimiwa Rachel Nyamai is the acting treasurer.
The officials allied to the ruling Kenya Kwanza camp were on Tuesday validated by the Register of Political Parties following the suspension of former leaders in a move seen by many as the president's ploy to weaken the opposition from within.
For the first time, we feel the ownership of the party.
And even as Kanini Kega said this, the Kioni-led faction indicated that there is only one communication channel from the party. Through the party's official Twitter account, it dismissed an earlier communication announcing the induction of new members.
It's unfortunate that I think the former team decided to tell the staffs to keep off and not to come to the party headquarters.
But today the police officers went with these people and invaded the headquarters of Jubilee Party and they took over the offices there. Meaning that actually they're trying to destroy Jubilee so that Jubilee can be consumed by Kenya Kwanza. This is basically an intention of taking this country back to a single party.
The interim Jubilee Party Secretary Kanini Kega has now summoned suspended SG Jeremiah Kioni and Vice Chair David Murathe to appear before the disciplinary committee.
The disciplinary process will take place and make sure that we give those who are suspended fair treatment.
Those summoned are expected to be served with notices individually and set to appear physically to explain why the party should not take action against them. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
Now tonight, a section of MPs allied to the Azimio coalition have told retired President Uhuru Kenyatta to keep off from the ongoing People's Barazas, saying he is not adding any value. The MPs say they have raised the matter with Azimio coalition party leader Raila Odinga. According to the law, President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is Azimio coalition chairman and Jubilee party leader, is expected to relinquish the office next month or risk losing his retirement benefits. Our senior political affairs reporter Apollo Kamau reports.
President Uhuru Kenyatta's grand announcement that he has not retired from active politics and that he will remain in the Azimio coalition has rattled a section of Azimio MPs, still nursing the wounds of the August 9 election defeat, blaming him for the loss, while insisting he has no political value in the Azimio camp and that he should keep off from the ongoing People's Barazas.
For us, the followers of Baba, we are not convinced that Uhuru is going to add any value. In fact, anything is going to reduce the gain that Baba has made all these years. Because the presence of Uhuru in our rallies is continuously destroying our image of opposition. Because people may think that is he the one sponsoring the rallies. Baba's rallies are never sponsored, but his image shows that they have been sponsored.
If he was not able to put his stronghold together when he was a sitting president, would his involvement in politics after retirement have any serious impact on Azimio as a coalition? The answer is yeah or no. It could be yes or no, but I think for me, if I were him, I would just opt to retire.
Mimi nimestaafu, niko retired, but I am not tired.
Azimio coalition party leader Raila Odinga, who Uhuru recognizes as his leader, is said to have been briefed on the matter. The MPs instead want the former president to hold his own political rallies to prove his political weight after exiting office.
We have expressed our dissatisfaction to Baba and the other leaders that we don't think his continuous appearance in Azimio is adding any value whatsoever.
They are just trying to get prepared for 2027. And I think they know. The former president has got all the financial muscle to assist them on maybe the campaigns to come. That is why he's relevant. He has always expressed that he's supporting Azimio. So I think he's trying to be relevant in the sense that he doesn't want to pull over to this side.
The ongoing wrangles in the Jubilee party, now split between Kenyatta's few allies versus the majority of party-elected MPs, led by Iala MP Kanini Kega, has not helped matters for the former president as far as his say in Azimio is concerned.
I have confidence in the former president. He'll be able to handle the wars in Jubilee. He is in control. All we need is let him clean up his house.
Kenyatta's vow to stick in active politics is also likely to upset the Presidential Retirement Benefits Act, which requires a retired president to cease holding political office 6 months after leaving office. Kenya Kwanza MPs supporting the Kanini Kega Jubilee faction have threatened to support a motion blocking the former president from accessing his retirement benefits.
That you will enjoy those things when the right time comes. If he's not going to be in active politics, the right time has come. If he's in politics, then the right time will come when he feels he's tired from participating in active politics.
In the Kenya Kwanza camp, the return of Kenyatta to active politics has no impact, while in the Azimio camp, some are still unhappy, blaming the former president for Azimio's loss in last year's general election. Apol Kamau, TV47 at Parliament Buildings.
Now, Isiolo Senator Fatuma Dulo has been removed as the minority whip in the Senate by the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leadership. The coalition's leader, Raila Odinga, announced on Wednesday, February 15th, that Dulo, who is among the Jubilee Party senators who have decamped to the Kenya Kwanza coalition, will be replaced by Narok Senator Ledama Olekina. Our reporter Paul Kirobi reports.
In the latest meeting, Azimio leader Raila Odinga brought together a section of Azimio allied elected senators for a luncheon where matters of House leadership were discussed and the way forward. After an hour of deliberations, Raila, flanked by senators present, made changes agreed upon for the House leadership announced by former Premier Raila Odinga, with Stewart Mazayo maintaining his position as the minority leader and Enoch Wambua maintained as the deputy minority leader.
Our leadership in the Senate is now the leader. The minority leader is Honorable Stewart Mazayo, deputed by Honorable Senator Enoch Wambua from Kitui, and the whip is Honorable Ledama Olekina, deputized by Honorable Edwin Sifuna. And that is our lineup in the Senate. This is because some officials who were there before have opted to now work with the majority party.
We are a team,
And it was important that we make this one very clear and that we effected the changes that took place in the Senate yesterday.
The opposition leader stated that the changes were necessitated after a section of leaders seemingly shifted allegiance to the Kenya Kwanza side and failed to toe the party line. The whip by the ODM leader is likely to shift to those in the National Assembly, even as Raila insists that the president is playing dirty tricks to gain more numbers on his Kenya Kwanza side. Odinga still maintains that the 2022 presidential general election was rigged, calling on the Senate to be proactive in the push for election management of the country.
The service provider, the company called Smartmatics, refused to allow us. They even wrote a letter, which even the media has got, saying that they cannot allow us into the server because that will infringe their proprietary rights.
While rubbishing prayer services led by President William Ruto, Raila revealed plans are underway to hold prayers for the Independent Electoral Boundary Commission.
On Saturday, we are going to be in Kisumu. And then we will also be doing a prayer for the IBC.
Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, away from politics, a 5-hour operation has brought hope to a middle-aged woman who has suffered fistula for over 30 years in Bamba area of Kilifi County. And as Elizabeth Atieno now reports, the victim was forced to live in solitude due to the stigma associated with the condition.
10 kilometers from Bamba town in the drought-stricken Ganze constituency in Kilifi County, we approach the remote village of Mikamini, where we meet Shindano Kangota, who is now able to afford a smile despite living a life of sorrow, neglect and stigma. Kangota narrates how what she thought would be a happy marriage turned into a traumatic experience the moment she became pregnant. She was then forced to undergo a cesarean section due to birth-related complications and ended up getting fistula. And as if that was not enough, she also lost her newborn baby.
Shindano Kangota ni mama ambaye ameugua muda mrefu sana, na ni kwamba baada ya kuugua fistula alikuwa amefichwa na jamii. Lakini katika pilika za hapa na pale, na dadangu huyu Felista Sauti hapa tukamkuta, na tulikuwa tumeletwa kwa ajili ya kumsaidia na mambo ya chakula, lakini baadaye alipotuelezea fanya alikuwa akiugua, aligua zaidi ya miaka 30 na huu ugonjwa fistula.
Sababu mtoto ujauzito wake wa kwanza ndio ulimletea hii shida, na mtoto akaaga, na kwa hivyo hana mtoto, anateseka na huyo mtoto hana.
But on the 13th of December last year, Kangota's life was renewed after she was among 31 women who benefited from the free fistula and gynecology surgery organized by the Kenya Red Cross Society and the county government of Kilifi, targeting vulnerable families.
Tulipopatana naye Disemba, kwa kweli alikuwa katika hali ya kusikitisha. Ile shida alikuwa nayo zaidi ya miaka 30, alikuwa ameishiwa na matumaini, hali yake ya afya ilikuwa imedhoofika, lakini sahihi ameweza kupona, amejawa na tabasamu, ana imani tele, yani she's looking forward to life. Number of women in Kilifi County suffer from these conditions, fistula being one of the leading and other gynecological condition. However, due to their poor due to financial constraints, they are unable to meet the cost for these services. So they have been suffering for the longest time. That's where we saw the need to come in as Kenya Red Cross and partner with the county government of Department of Health to support these women to undergo these services.
For now, Kangota is able to feel the warmth of family and friends, but the situation was completely different when she was battling fistula, as she was forced to live all alone with no one to clean her mess for the 3 decades.
Kwa mtazamo wangu naona venye wanafichwa katika hizi jamii zetu ni kwamba wengi wako na ile itikadi ya kwamba mtu kama yuko na ugonjwa wa fistula ama yuko na magonjwa kama yale, nasemekana kwamba alirogwa, ni uchawi. Sasa ile negativity ambayo iko na jamii ndio inafanya wanabaki tunda na nyumba wanateseka, kisa na maana huyo anarogwa. Sasa ile kasumba ambayo inabaki katika akili za wana jamii inawafanya hawa watu wanateseka na wanaugua.
Due to the surgery, Kang'ota can barely do any household chores, but is sometimes forced to lend a hand due to the financial hardship facing her entire family. According to Dr. Eric Konjala, a gynecologist at the Kilifi County Referral Hospital, fistula is caused by inadequate deliveries by unskilled personnel and is unfortunately associated with social stigma, which leaves the survivors suffering in silence.
The number of patients with obstetric fistula who come to hospital is very, very low because they are stigmatized in the society and they are neglected. Therefore, they do not easily come to hospital and do not have the means because because of leakage of urine, because of stigma, they are unable to come to hospital.
Community health volunteers in Kilifi County are now planning to pitch tent at various medical camps that will be set up in Kilifi North and South sub-counties in 3 community units of Mtwapa, Mtepeni and Sokoni, so as to prevent the spread of fistula in the area. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Let's dive in straight to business. I&M Bank has announced a waiver on transaction charges to its over 250,000 customers from its digital banking platform to mobile money wallets. This comes a month after Central Bank of Kenya reintroduced bank to M-Pesa and Airtel transactions charges. Now, the bank's digital business general manager, Michael Mwangi, says the bank's key focus is to boost its key digital banking solutions to customers. Now, Super Metro has unleashed fast electric brand new 25-seater buses that are expected to serve Nairobi CBD to Kitengela and Kikuyu. This comes a few weeks after Kenya Power held a conference to draw roadmaps for e-mobility vehicles in the country. The government has set a target of at least 5% of electric vehicles by the year 2025, despite the fact that 75% of the country's population are in excess of electricity. Fuel swapping stations might be a limitation to fossil-free vehicles. The bus comes with free Wi-Fi, USB charging ports, and onboard TV screens.
Hazitoi moshi, not polluting the environment. Ndio maana tumeona ni vizuri tuilaunch siku ya leo ikiwa ni kama zawadi kwa wateja wetu. Tumaliza mwezi huu ama mwezi ambao unakuja wa 3, tutakuwa na kama magari 10 za ambazo zinatumia teknolojia ya stima. Ya kununua hii gari iko juu sana kwa sababu ya ile VAT imewekewa ya 16% na 25% import duty na 10% ya excise duty. Hiyo inafanya hii gari ikuwe na bei kali sana. Consumption ya stima huwezi linganisha na consumption ya petrol ya diesel. Kwa hivyo inabakisha kama let's say tuna save kama nusu yenye tulikuwa tunatumia kwa diesel, tuna save tukitumia stima. Hii muda ya hii gari inaweza kaa kama miaka 12. Gari yenyewe inaweza kaa kama miaka 12, lakini zile battery ambazo inatumia zinaweza ishi labda kama miaka 8.
Hizi gari tunauza kwa milioni 5, alafu ongeze ushuru ya VAT, na wengine ni eneo za kuzicharge ama inakuwa na changamoto, lakini tunajaribu na kushirikiana na Kenya Power ndio tuweze kuweka charging points nyingi.
Let's get sporty. Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba earlier today unveiled the Talanta Hela Sports Technical Committee that will spearhead the Talanta Hela project, a front-runner project that aims in developing grassroots and monetizing talent in sports. The project is in line with the government's bottom-up sports transformation agenda and aims at identifying, recruiting, nurturing, marketing and monetizing talent, as it's also set to work with the education system to identify schools that will act as sports academies. The initiative will begin with football this year, with the launch of bottom-up tournaments expected to happen this month and then other sports to follow in subsequent years. Have a look.
The chairperson, first time, ladies in leadership. So, of course, it was technical committee.
Zimbabwean visitor Mapwanya earlier today claimed his first Safari Tour title after defeating Justus Madoya, Greg Snow and Mutai Kibugu by one shot at the Par 71 Muthaiga Golf Club course. Mapwanya fired a final round 3 under par 68 for an all-rounds total of 3 under par 281, earning which saw him finishing second overall in the 2022-2023 tour with a total of 234.5 points, taking home a total of 300,000 Kenya shillings and a slot in the next month's Magical Kenya Open, which is set to be held at the Muthaiga Golf Club. Meanwhile, as the focus now shifts to Magical Kenya Open Golf Limited Tournament Director Patrick Obath said he is hoping for a better 2023-2024 season with some new sponsors expected.
I don't know how to describe this kind of feeling. You know, it's been I've been knocking on the door every tournament, and like last week I almost had it at Karen, and it didn't just happen, but here we are, and I got it on the last leg. When I stepped on the tee box, on the 18th tee box, I really felt that this hole is the deciding hole for me. So I really kept my focus and I maintained it.
Mathare United registered their third win of the season after a 2-1 win against Kariobangi Sharks in the FKF Premier League match played at the Kasarani Annex. Ronald Angus scored the opener inside the half-hour mark to give Mathare the lead before Matthew Kibiwott equalized 3 minutes into the second half as Daniel Okoth scored the winner 8 minutes to the final whistle. Elsewhere, Bidco stand Vihiga Bullets 3-0.
Piga penalti nzuri kweli kweli. Ikisha goli la mapema hapa kwa faida ya Mathare United humu nchini linakufa.